Is Florida Congressman and Homeland Security member Carlos Gimenez. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. What can you tell us in terms of the impact of this wide open border?
Well, the impact is, look, in Texas, Arizona, even California, I mean, the effects are devastating, especially in the border towns. We know that there's 500,000 immigrants that have come through that we know have come through, but we don't know who they are. They're the ones that got away. Then there's another 500,000 that we didn't even know that got through, and there's over 2 million that we have apprehended. And again, we don't know those millions that just crossed the border. We have absolutely no idea who they are. We don't know who they are. We don't know why they're here. We don't know where they're going. And those really could pose a really big danger to the American people.
Well, look, we have seen already ties to the crime spike in this country as a result of illegal migrants who have tried to come in before and then got in over and over again and got away. But I want to get your take on these reports. Border agents have told me that they believe that prisons are being emptied out in places like Venezuela, and these prisoners getting out of jail and they're headed straight to the border. Do you know anything about this? This is what border agents told me directly in El Paso.
Yeah, well, we tried to get verification of that. We fear that that's exactly what's happening, and Venezuela would not surprise us. Remember, during the Mariel boat lift back in the 1980s, Castro emptied his jails when that boat lift began. Now, many people were family members, and they went, and they're legitimate folks, but that's something that the Castros did in Cuba. The Cuban regime advises the Maduro regime, and so it would not surprise me at all that Maduro is emptying his jails and sending them straight to the United States. It solves a problem for him. He doesn't have to take care of them anymore, and it also hurts his greatest nemesis in this hemisphere.
Well, look, the attorneys general of the U.S. told me that given this situation, every state has become a border state because these illegal migrants travel everywhere. You're in Florida. I'm also with Rob Astorino today in New York. And, Rob, you've seen this firsthand. Jump in here.
Yeah, well, Congressman, they were flying them into Westchester County Airport and putting them on buses, and they were being scattered not only in New York City, and nothing from the mayor here while it was happening, but obviously in the suburbs. But there's an issue here. It's affecting everyone's life, whether they know it or not, because these migrants are being placed in schools, and taxpayers are paying that. A lot of states, especially here in New York, are giving them free money and clothes and phones. And there's a real anger when people start finding this out, because it's like, who's the citizen, who's not here? The House has an opportunity to shut down the process during the continuing resolution and vote no. But the Senate will likely just go along and go along and go along. Don't you want to just run to the other side and say, what the hell are you guys doing on our team?
Yeah, well, we need to take control of the House. We need to send a clear message to the Biden administration that their policies will no longer be tolerated. The American people need to send that message. And the message is by rejecting the Democrats and giving back control to the Republicans. We have a plan. It's part of our 4-point plan. We need to have a nation that is secure, and a big part of that nation that is secure is securing our borders. Look, we know what will work. It happened with the Trump administration. The Trump administration was able to reduce illegal immigration to the southern border by some 90%. The first thing that the Biden administration did was overturn all of those great policies, and now we have the chaos that is the southern border. And so we know what to do. We need to fund more Customs and Border Patrol agents. We don't need to fund 87,000 new IRS agents. We need to get more Customs and Border Patrol agents. We need to give them the tools necessary and the policies that work, that have worked in the past. They need to be restored. That can only happen when we start to take control of government again and take it away from the Democrats. First step is giving back Congress to the Republicans, and then in 24, we need a new president.
Yeah, and that is why Kevin McCarthy said he's not signing any funding bill for the government unless there's money going to the border, funding Border Patrol. We are, 43 days away from the midterm elections, and the GOP has come out with their commitment to America. House Minority Whip Steve Scalise joined me yesterday and talked about that. Watch this.
most important about the commitment to America is we're showing the country that there can be a better way. We don't have to have this as the new normal where inflation is out of control, energy costs are unaffordable, we have a border that's so wide open. The commitment to America is just showing people, if you elect Republicans to replace these Democrats who have been voting for socialism, we can actually confront these problems. And we're showing the country the bills we would bring to a Republican House floor to address all the problems that Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and their far-left socialist friends have created.
Yeah, and Todd Pyro, that is exactly why you are seeing the GOP come out swinging with 43 days before the midterms.
Yeah, Maria, my question for the congressman, though, is the timing of all this. Congressman, do you think this was a good idea to have it this close to the election itself so that it'll be fresh in the minds of the voters? Or did Republicans miss an opportunity to introduce this right around the time of the Roe v. Wade ruling when Democrats really put abortion front and center and did get a little momentum in terms of voter registration and just mobilizing people that might otherwise have decided, hey, we're going Republican because we're sick of how the rest of the country is going?
Well, look, we put it out as soon as we could because we're actually working on this for close to a year and a half. And so every member of the Republican conference has been working on this alongside with our leader. And so this is not something that you just slap together and say, hey, here it is. No, we've been working on it for a long time, and this is the time that it was to release it because this was the time that actually the work was complete. We're actually serious about this. We're going to be implementing the things that are a commitment to America. We need to reduce inflation. We need to stop runaway spending. We need to get energy independence. Look, I was listening to the report earlier, Maria, and you talked about what can we do to Russia. Well, we took away one of our greatest weapons, which is our energy. And we could be supplanting Russian energy with American energy. But the Biden administration, the first thing they did the first day was basically try to destroy the American energy industry, a great weapon that we would have at our disposal right now had it not been for the Biden administration. We want to make sure that parents, have a bill of rights, that they know where their tax dollars are going, that they know what the heck is being taught to their kids. That's a basic, necessity as a parent, as a grandparent. I want to know what's being taught to my grandchildren at school. We want to strengthen Medicare and Social Security. We want to strengthen our First Amendment right and our Second Amendment rights. And so this is a very comprehensive plan, and you just don't roll it out. Hey, we got to respond now to something that happened in the Supreme Court. We put it out when we could because, this was well thought out. The American people now have a clear choice between the Democrats and the Republicans, and it's the right time to put it out.
Congressman, do you think that the government shuts down this week?
There's a distinct possibility. Look, we are serious about what's happening at the southern border and all these other things that we're talking about. Why are we funding 87,000 new IRS agents? The American government should be working for the American people, not going after the American people. And that's what these 87,000 IRS agents are going to do. They're going to come after you and me and every other American. First thing we're going to do if we take control of Congress is put a bill actually eliminate the funding for those 87,000 IRS agents and then start to save the money that we need to save in order to start reducing inflation and then send a clear signal to the Biden administration, hey, we're not playing around. We need things to change. America's on the wrong path. We need to get it back on the right track.
All right, Congressman, we'll be watching all of that. Thanks very much for being here this morning. Carlos.